Hello, I'm Marthel Neville. Time now for Sunday House Call.
And I'm Greg Jarrett. Welcome. Joining us, Dr. David Samadi, Chairman and Professor of Urology at Lenox Hill Hospital and Chief of Robotic Surgery.
And Dr. Mark Siegel, Professor of Medicine at NYU's Langone Medical Center, also author of The Inner Pulse, Unlocking the Secret Code of Sickness and Health. Good to see you, Doc.
Nice
Great to see you.
All right,
Good.
let's begin with this. A lot of folks expected to spend the holiday weekend barbecuing, of course. Why not?
Yummy.
But there are some safety tips you should keep in mind before firing up the old grill. Dr. Samadi?
One of my favorite weekends. We're starting this summer with the entire family, and of course everybody wants to barbecue and jump in the pool. But there's a new statistics coming from National Fire Protection Safety saying that, month of July is a very dangerous month. The number of fires have been on the rise for the past decade or so. So we want people out there to have a good time, but also be careful. Keep the kids about 3 to 6 feet away from your barbecue. Make sure that you don't leave it unattended. But before you really jump in and start doing this, inspect the pipelines, because 3 out of 5 houses are using now gas on their grill. And you don't know what has happened since last year. If there's any leak in the pipe or if there's anything in the actual grill, it's dangerous.
That's a good
so
point.
Pay attention to
can
this.
you do that on your own?
I think the best thing is to no. You can do it on your own, and you can see actually any rupture in the pipeline, and you just exchange it, and that's really the key. Also, keep it away from home. These are very basic, common sense things, and people may or may not pay attention. You have trees that have grown over the last year. The branches may be right over the fire. Just be careful with that. Then we talk about the actual safety of the food.
But before we do that, I want to get into, I think it's a common episode. It happens every year, and it's very tragic. People who don't have gas grills use briquettes, and they soak them first with lighter fluid, and then they light it. Well, sometimes people don't think it's actually lit, so they go over and they start pouring more lighter fluid. It's actually lit. It goes up the stream, explodes the can, and takes off a hand.
Or it gives you a huge burn. And the other thing you want to know is these barbecues, whether they're gas or briquette, tip number 1, keep them away from your house. Don't keep them near anything that's flammable. If you get a burn, I want to know how big that burn is. We use the rule of 9s. An arm is a 9, a leg is an 18, your front, your back are 18s. We want to know how big the burn is, Greg, because if it's small, you may be able to treat it yourself with just putting water on it, with putting Silvadene cream on it if it's not on your face, with keeping it clean and wrapping it. If it's large, if it blisters, or if it turns brown, you got to get to the hospital right away. Blisters are a second-degree burn, but never, ever, tip number 4, never, ever break a blister. Your blister is your body's natural defense against that burn. You put the cream on there, put the antibiotic cream on there. If you see it streaking, get to the emergency room.
But the first thing you do, so I get a burn, what do I do immediately?
I say put it under cool water and make sure it's clean. And then, after you do that, you assess it, you see how bad the burn is, and then you might use those antibiotic creams. First thing is cool water and make sure it's clean.
The best thing you want to do is to make sure that you cover it, because, once you have that skin and protection is gone, then you set yourself up for some sort of an infection, a skin infection. And if there's anything more than a simple burn, I would say go to the emergency room. There are professionals that can really take care of this, because a simple burn can become a big, complex thing. The other thing that we want people to really pay attention is things that we've talked about every year. How to cook your food, how to not mix the raw food versus with your cooked ones, because the E. coli and bacteria, that cross-contamination is always a big problem. Last year, I think you talked about investing in a great thermometer, because your chicken should go all the way up to 165 degrees. These are basic tools that you need. And wash your hands and that board frequently, because the bacteria can sit in. And of course, it's sunny out there. It's a beautiful weekend. And when the food is out there more than 2 hours, just get rid of it. It's not worth all the salmonellas and all the bacteria and GI symptoms for the kids. Those are very, very important keys.
One more point, completely.
And you've enjoyed some of our barbecue events.
Wonderful, and absolutely keep the food separate, because once raw meat with cooked meat, that reintroduces the bacteria. The other thing I want to say is people out there need to know that your skin is a barrier. It's supposed to be intact. If you burn that barrier, guess what? Fluids leak out and infection leaks in. That's why we want you to go to the ER. That's why you have to hydrate yourself. If you have a large burn, you got to drink a lot, and we may need to give you intravenous fluids. Watch out for streaking and signs of infections. Get it seen.
Well, what's interesting about dehydration
Wait, I want to ask, because you said, Dr. Samadi, cover it. What do you cover it with? Cover your skin.
Cover it with clean gauze if you have it. Absolutely right. First, put the Silvadene cream on. You can't use Silvadene on your face, so you use bacitracin. Use Silvadene cream.
What's that?
Any kind of antibiotic ointment on the face, because the Silvadene will burn your face. Any kind of you don't want scarring. Any kind of antibiotic ointment on the face. Anywhere else, use the burn cream, which is an antibiotic cream. Then put a gauze pad over it. And if you have something to wrap it with, wrap it. You want to keep it covered.
And change it frequently. And what about showering?
No, this is to get to the emergency room.
What you want to do
the emergency room.
You basically want to cover it up. Doesn't matter what. I mean, you're going to use a clean pad over that. At home, we have a lot of things such as like Tagaderm. Tagaderm is like basically a tape that you can put it over a tissue, and once you get to the hospital, they know how to take care of this. When it comes to dehydration, because it's so hot out there, and guess what people are doing? They're drinking beer, they're drinking whiskey and alcohol, and then that's a source of dehydration. So fluid is always the key. And of course, watch those kids between the barbecue and the swimming pool. But I think this year we're going to have a great time. I invited Mark actually to our place, and he loved the chicken and the barbecue beef.
Unbelievable. I want to make sure to take care of the grill. I want to make sure to answer Greg's original question, by the way. You could actually have a finger or a hand blown off. I want to tell people out there, God forbid that happens. Time is of the essence because it can be reattached. Your hand, your finger, these things can be reattached by top surgeons like Dr. Samadi. He doesn't do this, but top plastic surgeons that are skilled in microsurgery can put your fingers back on. Get to the emergency room.
Where do you put the finger in? Like
on ice. Okay. Stick it on ice. It'll last.
If your finger is part of the grill, then we have a
real big problem.
Oh, man, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Bon appetit.
Good tip, nonetheless. Good tip. I'm saving you. No.